All right, looks like it's time. I got the reef salt here for you. And we have the pump that we're going to use for mixing. Also the tube that we're going to use for pulling the water back out of the tub when it's mixed up. So let's get into it here. We'll go over the salt in a second. Okay, so you can see the salt I picked out to use for the tank here is the Fritz RPM or Reef Pro Mix. It's a complete marine salt. The reason I picked this one is because from the reviews I've read and from the people I've talked to and from my personal experience in the past, it does help hold the calcium, magnesium, and potassium levels at a much greater consistency. The less additives you have to do, the less water tests you have to do, the better. Of course, we still will test this as regular. It's just that it's usually foolproof. Now, when I'm mixing this here in the tank, I'm going to be using this little standard pump. Just any pump will do. This is just a 140 gallon an hour pump. I'm going to be sticking that in the bottom of the tank, that I have the water that's already filtered in. And then once I have that filtered in like that, then I'm going to be using this simply to pull the water back out of the tub into a gallon pail or a 5 gallon pail so I can take it up and put it in the tank. It's simply all I'm using it for. Otherwise the pump is just going to keep the salt mixing. Hopefully we get a good mix on it here so we have it accurate before we put it in the tank. Alright, so you can see here, that's the little buddy RO unit that we hooked up. Here's the tank, or the trash can. Basically, it's a 55 gallon trash can. Here's the salt. Here's the hose that the good clean water went in. You can see here about how full I got it. It's probably about 40 gallons of water in there, I'm going to guess roughly. So I'm going to add salt for about 35 gallons, and then we're going to check the salt to see where it comes in at. I'm going to be taking this pump right here, and I'm just going to be dropping that down in there like so. And then once I put that in there, we're going to take that, plug it in. Okay, so you can see here that I have it plugged in, the pump. I'm going to pull it up here, spit a little water. You can see that the bubbles it's making, it's actually spitting a little water there. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that in the tank. I'm going to let that sit and run. That's going to just sit and run there. I'm going to probably just leave it overnight. That way I know it's good and mixed up, and I'll get back to it in the morning. In the meantime, I am going to be taking this salt right here. I'm going to be taking 1/2 cup per gallon, so I'm going to figure 30 gallons. So we're going to do about 15 cups out of there. Okay, so you can see here I'm just going to be taking a cup that I took from salt. We'll just be pouring that in, letting it mix. Put that pump, like I said, for overnight. I'm going to do 14 more of them, and then I'm going to check it in the morning to see the salinity. Once it comes to morning, I'll film that again. We can see where it's at, and then we'll add accordingly. Once that's stirred for a little bit, then we'll start pumping it out, and we'll take it upstairs and we'll put it in the tank, and we'll see how things start looking. Okay, as you can see here, I have a Fluval C hydrometer for measuring the salt. We're going to be going down and checking out see where the salt's at on that water that we mixed up last night. Add if we need to get it correct, because I want to get it about 1.025 to 1.026, right in that ballpark. I'm going to use this for now because I'm trying to stick with the Fluval theme. However, I will be possibly buying a refractometer in the future for measuring the salt more accurately. This is just for the start of the aquarium. Alright, so I've decided on a place for this fish tank. There's a few things you got to do here before we can put the water in, and we want to do them right away because once the water's in, the water's about 8 pounds per gallon, so it's not that easy to move around. So we have the location that we want for this. I took the time to figure out exactly where it goes. And I wanted to make it square with the room. So as you can see, I got the same distance from the wall. So it's square. I also have the same distance on the side, because it won't be easy to move after this. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure that it's level, because if it isn't level, your water will show at the top. It'll be slanted like so, which is very unattractive. But as you can see, corner to corner I got it level. Straight across the front. And this corner to corner is level. So we're perfect there. Now I'm going to put that rubber pad back on. And by putting that rubber pad back on, we don't want it to move around while we're installing the tank. So I decided to take a little piece of tape, put it in each corner. This way, when I put the rubber mat down, you can actually stick it to that. Grab that. You can see where I can take it. I can put it right to the corner on all sides, just to make sure that when I put the tank down, it doesn't slide around, stick off the side. This mat is fairly important, because without this mat, it'll vibrate, and vibration can really make things annoying when you're listening to your fish tank. Okay, so now I'm going to take the fish tank, set it on there without that pad moving, so that it all fits nice and square. I can take the tank and slide it around to fit. Exactly where I want it. The pad don't move. We know it's level. We'll have to recheck it as we put water in it, because the weight of the water can push pressure on it, make it off a little bit. But the next phase is I'm going to take some actual salt water, just a little bit. I'm going to take it in there. I'm going to wash it around, kind of rinse the glass with it, get a little of that residue out of there, clean it out, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically just taking a little bit of this actual pre-mixed salt water. Just doesn't take much. I'm using salt water because that's what I plan on putting in here. Wetting a rag. I'm just kind of wiping down the sides of the glass. I'm going to do the whole inside and the bottom, and then I'm going to dry it all out when I'm done before I put in the actual water, because there's when they build these tanks and then they get stored and they get full of dust, they get a little contaminants in them. This way we can get that off so that is not on the glass, because a lot of times when you set up a tank, if you don't do this, you'll have weird looking lines on the glass, and then you got to take the time to scrape it off when all the water's in there. It's just easier to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is, once I get this done, I'll actually take a rag and I'll just dry it all out before I start putting anything else in. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, now that we have the tank cleaned out of the residue, we're going to put this live sand in. I went with this live sand just because I simply like the texture of it. It looks nice. I don't have any other real reason I went with it. It does have good ratings, but basically the look and texture is what I was going for the tank. So let's go put it in. Okay, so I have the live sand here. I'm going to take that. It comes actually, it's got water in it, because it's, of course, it's live. It's just a matter of dumping it in. do have 2 bags. I'm not sure if 2 bags is actually going to be enough. I thought I'd start with that. If I did need to add a little bit more, I would. But for right now, we'll stick with the 2. Okay, and I do want to show you here, I'm going to bring the camera up so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. So this sand does come with water in it. That's why it's got some live bacteria in it. This should help get should help the tank cycle and get set up. Looks like there's something in it here. I got to take that out. That's the rock. Sorry about the camera, but that's basically I think that might be enough rock from what sand from what I'm looking at. Okay, at this point I do want to add this because before I put the water in, I'm going to get the heater set in place. That's going to go back here. Then I also am going to put this thermometer. It's a digital thermometer. See if you can get it so you can see it. I'm going to put the cord down in the back of that box on this as well, and I'll have that readout on the front. And then we're going to put this pump in. And one of the things I did want to show you with this pump is when you put this pump in, you want to just drop it down. It's got these little rubber feet. You want to put it down in here, make sure it's all the way down. And then you want to fish it around because you don't want the pump to touch this or this if you can help it, because that will cause vibration. And if it causes vibration, then it'll make noise, which is not what you want. It won't hurt the fish or anything, it just make a lot of noise. But I'm going to install these here right now. I'm going to put this water piece will just go right in here. It'll just screw right into this piece right here. Okay, so I got that screwed in. These are adjustable for different sprays. You can have it spray towards the top, spray at the bottom, spray this way, that way. Whichever you decide you're going to need if you got corals or what you're going to be trying to feed the water to. Okay, so now on the thermometer, I'm going to just take this down here on this side, and I'm going to stick it about halfway down and stick it to the glass. Like so. And then this piece, we'll just run the wire out. I'm going to run it over here to the side of the tank in the back here, and stick it to it. That way we can see what the temperature is at all times. I put it over here on this side because this side is where I'm going to put the heater, and I don't want the heater to affect what that's showing as a temperature. Okay, now this is going to be the heater, and that, like I said, I'm going to put over to this side. It's submersible, so we can put it all the way down, just above the bottom, like that. And then we'll suction cup that to the glass as well. So see how I got the pump in there? There's a gap on both sides. The little heater deal, a temperature, pump, heater, all in this compartment. Okay, so I'm going to start hauling water up to the tank. I was going to show you how I'm doing this. So this little pump that I use right here to actually stir the salt overnight into the water and get the consistency just right, I'm actually going to hook a hose on, drop it back in the tank, and use it to pump water into my bucket. That's going to save me from making a stand and using a bulkhead to drain the water out of the bottom. As you can see, it's pumping it out into the bucket. As that bucket fills, I'll unplug it, I'll haul it up. I'm going to do this until the tank's full. Alright, as you can see, I have a plate laying in the bowl, or in the fish tank. Part of the reason I have that in there is because when I pour the water in, I don't want to stir that stuff around and make the water any more cloudy and stirred up than I have to. So I'm going to start adding water. I'll show you how I just pour it on that plate. See how it just sprays off lightly to the side and doesn't get anything stirred up? We'll continue that as we fill it up. The plate will probably start to float. We'll just move this as it floats by. And that's water that I took out of the barrel that was already mixed with salt. I'm just going to continue that until it's full. We'll be back once it's full. I would like to also add that I will be adding live rock. The reason I do not have the live rock in there is, as you know, with the way things are, shipping is not a priority for live rock. So I have it on order. I'm not sure when it's going to show up. I figured I'd like to get the tank set up and cycling so we can get that going while we're waiting for the live rock. Once it does show up, I will take some of the water out, add the rock, and I will show you that as well. Alright, so you can see I've completed the water. I do have where salt's a little bit low yet. I kind of want to get it up to the top of that green. It's currently at the bottom. I will add salt slowly here to get it just right. I'm able to do that at this point in the tank. One reason being is it is a brand new tank. There's no livestock, no live rock, no fish. Basically, it's just going to be running here, adjusting. I may add a molly or two here, we'll see, just to get something in there to get some life in the tank, to see what it comes with as we start testing the water. As you can see, my water's at about 76 degrees. All this stuff will get adjusted here as we go. It's all just, I just wanted to get the water in right now. It's cloudy. It'll clear up as we go. Once it clears up, you know, it'll be easier to work with. Hopefully that live rock that I ordered will show up and we can get that in there as well. Keep the cycling going. Alright, I wanted to show you something else that came with this that I didn't realize was in there that I'm going to be using. This live sand that I bought here, it came with these little biomagnet clarifier packets, 2 of them, 1 for each bag. What it's designed to do is to clear up the water with all the dust and stuff from the new water in the tank. You're supposed to simply just take this, put it inside of a, take your glass, from some water from the tank, cut it open, pour it in there. We're going to take this other packet as well, pour that one in there as well, stir it up good, and then you're supposed to add it to established tanks slowly, over a period of time. I am going to add this a little bit slower but I'm not going to do it that slow just because it's a new tank, and I feel like a new tank won't. There's not much that can go wrong with a new tank because there's nothing in it, so this I'm going to just pour in fairly rapidly. Hopefully it does the job and clears up the water like it's promising it will do. So I'm simply going to just lift up the lid, take it and pour it in kind of all over. Rinse the glass out a little bit. And we'll see what that does. Supposedly it's going to clear and polish the water. I'm not real familiar with it, but we're going to give it a try being as it come with it. Now, as you've seen in earlier videos, there's 2 filter chambers. Each one has a foam pad for filtering the water. Simply a pull handle to pull them in and out. They each come with media. These medias come wrapped up. So I'm going to open them up Now each one of them comes in its own little bag, and then you just simply put them back in these holes before you put them in. That way the water can go through. These top ones are charcoal. They also come in a bag. Think of it as these here will have some different debris on them. You don't really want to put that in your tank if you don't have to. So I plan on taking these, I'm just demonstrating this, but I plan on taking these and dipping them in some salt water and rinsing them off good. Be the same, they're both the same here, just different sides. Kind of handy little mesh bags to keep them in so that they're not falling all over. You want to make sure you take them out of the bags and put them in these here. If you left them in the bag here and forgot about the plastic, it wouldn't do you any good. I just took a bowl, got some actual RO deionized water already mixed up with the salt. I'm just going to take all these and I'm going to put them in it. Maybe I'll do these at first. Just kind of want to get any loose debris off so that it doesn't end up in my tank. It's really not that much on these. But now the charcoal will be different. There'll be a lot of particles and whatnot that I want to get rinsed off. So once I'm done with that, then we'll go put these filters in. Okay, this is the back cover of the tank. This is where we're going to be installing them 2 filters that we just cleaned the media for. Simply just pop this off. Take the one, put it in on this side. Push it down till it's all the way to the bottom. Take the other one. Same thing, push it down until it's all the way to the bottom. Then now water will be coming in here and water will be coming in over here as it comes in from both sides. It'll go through the filters, the media, and into here, and this pump will pump it back in. There's the pump, the heater. And that's pretty much all there is to getting that set up on the tank. I just wanted to show you what it was like after one day of adding the clarifier. How clear the tank got. There'll be more to come. The next will be the live rock video. Once we have that, then we'll go to the fish. We're going to have it cycle at this time. I'll see you on the next video.